Night on the Yangtze, silent water, and a fleet that doesn't know it's already trapped.
They move like a confession. Small boats drifting toward a giant.
From the north, it looks like surrender. Like the south is running out of breath.
Then a single spark appears, too bright to be a lantern.
But on a crowded river, space is the first thing you lose.
Ships collide when they shouldn't, and the fleet begins to choke on its own formation. The Yangtze becomes a corridor of fire, an open river turned into a weapon.
Orders shout through smoke, but the message can't outrun panic.
This wasn't brute force. This was terrain, timing, and deception.
Numbers don't help when you can't maneuver.
Some battles are won by steel. This one is won by conditions. A fleet that can't separate is a fleet that can't breathe. In the blaze, the river stops being space and becomes confinement.
And the question isn't who has more ships. It's who controls the moment.
Cao Cao came south to unify an empire. Now he's fighting distance itself.
The South doesn't just light the fire. They move inside the confusion it creates. In war, silence can mean one thing. The plan is working.
Because Red Cliffs is a thriller written in motion. One window, one wind.
But how did this battlefield become a weapon?
If you want the next forgotten world, subscribe, and we'll uncover it together.
Here's the puzzle. How does the South turn a river into a precision weapon?
Because Cao Cao has the court, the manpower, and the momentum.
On paper, the North should be unstoppable. He comes south to finish the map, to unify what's breaking. The South can't match him in mass, so it must win in conditions.
Sun Quan's court debates the unthinkable. Submit or fight on the river. For Liu Bei, there's no safe retreat left. This stand is survival.
The river is not scenery here, it's the main character.
Most accounts suggest the North is strained. Long marching, wet climate, men out of their element.
A land army can occupy ground, but can it command water? Zhou Yu doesn't ask for more ships. He asks for the right kind of fight.
The alliance is fragile, but the threat is bigger than pride. Red Cliffs is where the river narrows into decision.
Because fire doesn't just need fuel. It needs direction.
Stability on water feels like safety until it becomes confinement.
He wants control, clean lines, clear commands, a fast end.
Zhou Yu wants the opposite. a battle that breaks lines.
Fire ships aren't magic. They're engineering.
They don't need to destroy everything. Only the enemy's ability to function as one.
If the South fails, Jiangdong becomes a frontier, and the last independent power base collapses.
If Liu Bei loses, his cause ends. His followers scatter into the fog of history.
Cao Cao's constraint is time. Supply and health don't wait.
On this river, visibility is fragile. One gust can erase a fleet.
So he builds a plan around one thing: the enemy's lack of flexibility.
A land soldier can be brave and still be wrong-footed by water.
The South lives on this water. Its crews think in currents and spacing.
The alliance doesn't become a family. It becomes a necessity.
Most accounts agree the North tries to stabilize, control seasickness, keep order, end it fast.
And to Zhou Yu, stability has a second name: vulnerability.
A river weapon needs three things: fuel, distance, and wind. Not heroics, mechanics. Later stories make the wind a miracle. Real commanders treat it like a schedule. He believes time is on his side, because mass usually is. Zhou Yu doesn't need the enemy to blunder, only to commit. Because once you launch a fire ship, there is no undo.
The plan is simple to say, hard to execute. Ignite confusion, then move inside it.
And that's the thriller. Will the enemy step exactly where you want?
Because on this river, the first clash is not steel, it's timing.
Now the river chooses. Will it carry fire forward or throw it back? They wait until the distance is perfect and the air finally agrees.
A subtle wind change is the green light no one can fake.
Zhou Yu gives the order without shouting, because silence travels farther than fear.
The moment they abandon the ship, the plan becomes irreversible.
They row away from the flame, like escaping a promise. On the northern line, they see light where there should be none.
The first instinct is simple: push it off, create space, reset.
But the river is crowded, and the first contact becomes a chain. Cutting lines should free you, unless every ship is tied to the same problem. Command becomes hand gestures, because the air is swallowing sound. This is where numbers flip. More ships means more collisions. Now the fire is not the battle, it's the opening. The South rides the confusion like a current. Fire breaks visibility, and visibility breaks accuracy. They fight the fire like an enemy, but the real enemy is the jam.
The southern crews don't need to sink ships. They need to twist the geometry.
Every tactic is a story of spacing, and spacing is collapsing exactly on schedule.
Oh, Cao's problem isn't courage. It's control under conditions he can't command.
When oars snap, a river fleet loses its legs.
The south moves where the north can't, through the lanes the fire creates. The retreat is harder than the fight, because turning requires space they no longer have.
In a night battle, sound becomes the map.
They try to reform the line, but the river refuses straight edges.
Target the ropes, not the men, and the fleet unravels itself.
One cut can create 10 collisions.
Discipline holds for a moment, until the next ship slams into them.
And when lanterns swing, shadows lie, and panic multiplies.
He isn't watching flames, he'll watching rhythm collapse.
The north signals hold, but the fleet can't hold its shape.
They use spears like levers, keeping distance alive. On water, even light becomes misinformation.
When reports contradict, even a genius is blind for a heartbeat.
The Southers' key move is not attack, it's misalignment.
Once one ship loses control, the cluster behaves like a machine breaking. Signals ripple beyond the river, because victory must be managed, not just won. For Liu Bei, survival now depends on Zhou Yu's timing being perfect.
Retreat becomes a second battlefield, and the river offers no rehearsal.
Even small tasks, tying, hauling, steering, turn brutal when smoke steals oxygen.
Then one failure triggers another, and the fleet becomes its own fuel.
The pivot is timing. Strike the edges only after the center jams.
They exploit the only place the North can't reinforce, the clogged center.
But rallies require hearing, and smoke turns commands into guesses.
Once gaps appear, the fleet stops being a wall and becomes fragments.
This is the moment numbers stop being power and start being crowding.
Order turns into escape, not because they're weak, but because the system failed.
The river swallows evidence, even as it delivers the verdict.
Victory looks like one small thing. The moment you can breathe again.
The northern push breaks at the river, not by massacre, but by physics and fear.
When the sun rises, the south is still standing. Cao Cao doesn't lose ambition. He loses momentum,
and that changes everything.
Red Cliffs doesn't unify the South. It reveals the shape of a divided future.
The cost is immediate. Ships burned are not replaced by pride.
But the victory has a price, and the bill arrives fast. The South holds, and the dream of a quick conquest dissolves. For Liu Bei, survival buys time, but time also buys new rivals. A brilliant tactic can stop an invasion, but it cannot stop politics. The strategic impact is simple. The river becomes a border, not a road.
The immediate consequence is withdrawal, and a campaign that cannot pretend it was easy. Cao Cao learns the lesson every strategist hates. Conditions can defeat capacity.
The cost is not abstract. Timber, rope, oil, and months of labor vanish in one night.
And the alliance is still an alliance, meaning it can still break.
Because survival creates a new question. Who owns the river after the fire?
And Cao Cao adapts, because defeat is also data.
Red Cliffs proves the river can be a wall, but walls create borders, and borders create wars.
The tactical takeaway is ruthless. Control the choke point, and you control the stronger enemy.
On land or in business, the rule is the same. Protect your roots and choose the terrain that limits your opponent.
But every perfect plan leaves fingerprints, and enemies learn.
But what if this victory planted the seed of the next disaster?